Sunday morning in Bethlehem. In the Catholic Church of St. Catherine, High Mass is devoted to St. Joseph. The church is full. Of course, many tourists come in here. The Catholic place of worship is next to the Orthodox main church. But most of the faithful at High Mass are locals. Catholics are a minority in the Holy Land, both in Israel and in the autonomous Palestinian area, which includes Bethlehem. Around 180,000 Christians live in the Holy Land today. The minority is Catholic. Most of them are Christian Orthodox. 3/4 of the Christians are Arabs. The others are either members of Christian orders in monasteries or members of Jewish families who emigrated from Eastern Europe to Israel. The Nativity site in Bethlehem this morning. Thousands of Christians and Muslims greet the Pope in Jesus' birthplace. On his arrival, the Holy Father kissed Palestinian ground, a symbolic gesture seen by many as a recognition of Palestinian claims of statehood.
Let us pray.
Islam is omnipresent in Bethlehem today. It is seen and heard everywhere. The Pope's Mass is briefly interrupted by the Muslims' call to prayer.
It was a simple town.
The people were simple. They didn't aspire to a fancy lifestyle. And the church played a large role in their lives. It formed a kind of focus for the people who lived here. Even today, there are still Sunday debates about business and politics in the churchyard. Dr. Dabdoub's family is one of the most established Christian families in Bethlehem. They emigrated from Veneto in the 16th century and finally became Arab.
For our children, it was not a problem to tell them to go to church, to practice their religion. But nowadays, everything has changed, unfortunately.
So in Bethlehem, there was always a majority in Bethlehem. Because when you see the old architecture and you discover new things, you discover that the Christians continue to be majority here until 1948. In 1948, many refugees came. And for example, we have near our house a camp of refugees here. We have at the north, near Rachel's tomb, another camp of refugees, and another one south of Bethlehem, Deheshi. They're all Muslims, these are people.
Bethlehem is a small town, which only livens up when the tour buses arrive. The town lives on the business generated by religion. Traders complain that the tourist groups organized in Israel spend too little time here to spread their money around. The most dominant culture you see on the street is that of Middle Eastern Muslims. It's most noticeable with the women. You hardly used to see girls wearing headscarves, but today even schoolgirls wear them. Muslim women in the Holy Land marry earlier than Christian women and have on average twice as many children. Only half as many Arab women as Christian women work outside the home. Their lifestyle is modest. The high number of refugees around the town is markedly lowering the standard of living. It is not a homogeneous society. The established Christian population is better educated, but even that doesn't guarantee any privileges.
Well, there is always discrimination. Let's say if a Christian apply for a job and a Muslim apply for a job, for the same job, they don't look at the competence of the guy, but religion has a big role, and they prefer to take a Muslim.
We never could say what we wanted to say, never. Since I was born till now, not a single day I could say what I think. whether with the Jordanian, whether with the Britishers, whether with the Israelis, or whether with the present regime.
Yeah.
You have no freedom of expression.
Just a few kilometers north is Jerusalem, the garden of the Domitio monastery. Appearances are not deceiving. Contact with the volatile Middle Eastern surroundings is limited. What you have to realize is that the individual communities are not the focal point, but that with our minority of 2%, each individual Christian counts here. So when we meet one another, we see each other as Christians, and not primarily as monks, Catholics, Protestants, or Greek Orthodox. The most important thing is that we live as an ecumenical community, that we are all Christians together in this town and in the Holy Land. That is incredibly important in our 2% Christian minority, and the communities play a less significant role. In Jerusalem's Old Town, each religious community lives in its own quarter, but the tensions don't run between Christians and Muslims. They run between Israelis and Palestinian Arabs. The State of Israel was supposed to provide a safe home for Jews so brutally deseminalized in the European Holocaust. Safety from Christian persecution led to decades of bloody conflict with the Arab world, which doesn't want to foot the bill for Europe. The Wailing Wall is where the political conflict becomes religious. Down below, the Jews mourn the destroyed temple, and at the top, the dome of the mosque shines where the temple once stood. The human drama of three world religions reaches its pinnacle with the Pope's visit to Yad Vashem. I do think there's a difference between saying that Christians have sinned against the Jewish people and that the Church itself, which according to Catholics is God's representative on earth, is infallible. The mistake was made by people, by Christians, which is what the Pope said. Seen from a Jewish point of view, that's not enough. The Church as an institution has sinned. We can talk about that. The opportunity for dialogue has been opened. Of course, there are different perspectives, but the Pope has enabled dialogue to begin, and that is very important.
Das sind natürlich verschiedene Standpunkte. Aber dieser Papst hat es dazu gebracht, dass ein Dialog möglich ist. Und das ist unglaublich wichtig.
John Paul II, a pope as a simple pilgrim in the Mother Church of Bethlehem. Can the Catholic Church make a spiritual connection here, in the place where it all began?